I've been working in collaboration with a program in women's oncology for over 10 years. We're going to be talking about a plant-based diet, the benefits of the diet, recommendations from the American Institute for Cancer Research, and how to incorporate more plants into your diet. So the first question I'd like to ask is, why do we eat? Is it because we're hungry? Is it time to eat? Are we bored? Maybe it's a social get-together or a holiday. There are a variety of reasons why we eat, but what's the real purpose? Every time we eat, we are given the opportunity to nourish our body. So this is really important because we really want to improve the quality of our life. And really the best way to do that is from nourishing our bodies with the right type of foods. So this brings me to the plant-based diet. A plant-based diet generally consists of lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. This can include meat, fish, and dairy. It doesn't necessarily mean it's vegetarian or vegan, but meat, fish, and dairy is in smaller quantities. I like to show this picture just to show you the difference between a vegan diet and a whole foods plant-based diet. On the left, you'll see a picture of a vegan diet. It's a mac and cheese that's vegan with a cookie. The difference is the mac and cheese and the cookie have a little bit added sugar, sodium, fat, a little bit more unbalanced compared to the whole foods approach. With the plate on the right, you're looking at a more nutritious, more balanced diet with protein, fiber, and plenty of other nutrients. So what are the benefits of a plant-based diet? This diet's high in fiber, high in vitamins and minerals. You do get enough protein, and this is naturally low in sugar, saturated fat, and cholesterol. This all can lead to a healthier weight, better for your heart health, can help with blood sugars and your blood pressure, can boost immune system, and can lower cancer risk. So what do all plants have in common is fiber. So there's two different types of fiber. There's insoluble and soluble fiber. Combined, we do encourage to get 30 to 35 grams of fiber per day. So insoluble fiber is roughage. So when you're having something like a whole grain or maybe a salad, you're getting more roughage. Soluble fiber acts like a gel when you eat it. So think of things like oats and beans. This helps lower blood sugars and blood cholesterol. And again, you want to get 30 to 35 grams a day. So we're going to be talking about a little label reading. First of all, the benefits of fiber. Fiber slows digestion. So it makes you feel a little bit more full a little bit earlier. It can improve your blood sugars, help lower your cholesterol, and may help protect against colon cancer. So I'm going to talk about each type of plant separately to show the benefits of why all of these are very important. So with whole grains, this is an example of whole grain anatomy. We have a whole grain, so think of something like whole wheat bread, brown rice, or oatmeal. On this outer portion is called the bran. This is where all of the protein, fiber, things like B vitamins, important for energy and metabolism. That's the bran. So on the inside is the endosperm. So generally when foods are processed, they strip this outer portion. So that just leaves this inner portion, the endosperm. This is simple starches. So what happens when you eat a whole grain, the stomach acid actually has to break down through this bran, makes it a little bit longer for digestion, so you feel a little bit more full a little longer. What happens though, when that's stripped and you're just left with something like white rice or white bread, the stomach acid actually breaks down very quickly the food that you're eating. So you end up digesting a lot quicker. You end up feeling more hungry. You can end up eating larger portions and just feel a lot hungry sooner. So it's really important to make sure that you're eating whole grains because you're getting really the benefit of the protein, the fiber, and again, the B vitamins. And again, you feel full a little bit longer. So some popular whole grains include something like oatmeal, quinoa, something like whole wheat, of course, or brown rice. There are other whole grains to incorporate. One of my favorites is not listed. It's called farro. It's a very high fiber kind of whole grain to include in your diet. If you are looking at a label, you really want to pay attention to the first ingredient on that label. So on the left is whole wheat flour. It must say whole wheat or whole grain. If it says multigrain or honey wheat, it's not a whole grain. On the right, it says enriched flour. So enriched or refined, that is not a whole grain. Again, you want to have the word whole or whole grain to be the first ingredient. The other thing to do is to look at the nutrition facts. So you always check the serving size first. So for this product, serving size is half cup. So for half cup, you are looking at dietary fiber, 6 grams. Anything with 3 grams or more of fiber, you're getting an adequate source of fiber per serving. So 6 grams is an excellent source of fiber. And again, as a reminder, 30 to 35 grams of fiber per day is recommended. So you're off to a pretty good start with something that's 6 grams of fiber. How do you add whole grains to your diet? So as an example, something like oatmeal or whole grain toast. I have a lot of patients that say they really don't like oatmeal, it's too mushy. You can really do a lot with it. You can add a lot of flavor to it, something like cinnamon or a little peanut butter, some fruit, something like bananas. I've even added unsweetened cocoa powder to give it a little bit of a chocolate flavor. If you don't like oatmeal still, baking it, turning it into an oatmeal muffin or something, just to get a little extra oatmeal. Or just doing whole grain toast. I'm a big fan of something like whole grain toast and peanut butter or whole grain toast with a little avocado. Lunch and dinner, having something like whole grain pasta, brown rice, or quinoa. And then snacking on something like whole grain crackers or popcorn. Popcorn for 3 cups, you're getting almost 4 grams of fiber, so that's going to be a little bit more of a filling snack. So my next favorite plant is beans. Beans are very nutritious. They're very high in fiber and protein. They're very filling. You could tell I don't like to be hungry. I like to be full throughout the day. Beans are definitely my favorite. Beans have been shown to help with weight, help improve your blood sugars, and help, again, lower cholesterol. It's recommended to have about a half cup per day, every day. So what do you do with beans? If you don't like beans, adding them to something like a marinara sauce can be a subtle way. I've added lentils to my pasta sauce, and it's a very subtle kind of flavor, texture. Adding them to something like a hearty chili or a minestrone soup. If you're a little bit more brave and you love beans, adding them right to a salad is a delicious way to get beans in, or adding them to a side dish, something like veggies. You can also do something like roasted chickpeas as a snack. Very filling, very hearty. If you really dislike beans, you can even throw them into a smoothie. I've had patients try it before. It really has no added taste. So if you don't like beans, throw them in a smoothie and you're off to a good start. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is eating the rainbow. And I'm not talking about Skittles or jelly beans. I'm really talking about your fruits and vegetables. So fruits and vegetables have what are called phytochemicals. So these are phytonutrients. This includes antioxidants, carotenoids, isoflavones, and catechins. These are all different plant compounds that really can help our bodies function and protect against diseases. So as you can see in this illustration, you have your antioxidant from the plant really help protect the healthy cell from what's called the free radical. So free radicals are what are damaging our cells. So we really want to have a high antioxidant intake from fruits and vegetables in our diet to help protect our healthy cells. So eating the rainbow, you really want to have as much color in your diet as possible. So having something like purple grapes gives you an antioxidant called xanthocyanins. Have something like green can give you a little bit extra chlorophyll. The more antioxidants in your diet, the more that you're protecting your cells. And having that varied diet because the amount of antioxidants is varied. So for example, having a banana is about 16 units of antioxidants. Having something like blackberries is 960 units of antioxidants. So the variety really makes a difference. You know, not saying that never eat a banana again. It's really just the variety, incorporating as many different colors as you can. So for the high antioxidant foods, berries are going to be the highest in antioxidants. And for your vegetables, having those dark green leafy vegetables, something like kale or spinach, is going to give you a lot more antioxidants. Well, what do you do with them? So again, my favorite thing to do if you don't like something is to throw it in a smoothie. You know, I've had patients that say they don't like cauliflower, give them frozen cauliflower, they blend it right up. You can't even taste the cauliflower. Adding them to things like soups. Sometimes I throw in extra broccoli or sweet potatoes into a minestrone soup just to give it a little extra nutrition. Adding it to something like pizza. So instead of having, you know, cheese and pepperoni pizza, having maybe a colorful veggie pizza with, you know, maybe a side salad. And then of course, having extra salad, you can really mix it up with a lot of vegetables by adding it. Nuts and seeds are very, very healthy as well. You really want to have a lot of variety. 1 ounce or 1/4 cup of nuts has been shown to reduce the risk of heart disease, stroke, and cancer. So really incorporating 1 ounce of nuts or seeds in your diet daily. For example, the variety of nuts, pistachios have a good amount of melatonin. So incorporating pistachios maybe as a bedtime snack, or if you do something like walnuts, you're getting a high intake of omega-3 fatty acids, which is important for inflammation. If you have something like Brazil nuts, 2 Brazil nuts, you're already getting your selenium intake for the day. So it's really important to have a lot of variety with your nuts and seeds just so you're hitting different nutrients. How do you add them to your diet? So having something like a nut or a seed butter on whole grain bread, adding it to your oatmeal, having it with a piece of fruit, adding it to your salads or on a main meal. And if you really dislike having nuts or nut butters, again, throwing it in your smoothie, you're getting a little extra protein. And if you have a nut allergy, definitely working with different seed butters. There's things like sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. They actually make those as butters. You can throw those in any of these kinds of foods. So a lot of people say, well, what about the protein when you're doing plant-based? You're getting a lot less protein. Well, for women, you need about 45 grams per day, and men is about 56 grams. This may vary depending if you're undergoing chemotherapy or if you had surgery or if you're doing radiation, but in general, it is a little bit lower amount. If you're undergoing treatment, you could be looking at 60 to 70 grams about. So the best thing I say is to continue eating foods that have high protein. So something like beans, you can be getting up to almost 20 grams of protein with a cup of lentils. Something like almonds has a good source of protein as well. Also, whole grains, they're not listed here, but whole grains can have about 5 grams added protein as well. With that said, I'm not saying never eat meat again. It's really just the portion size. So if you see listed here, we have salmon, steak, and chicken. They're about 3 ounces. So that's about a size of a deck of cards, or if you're looking at your hand, it's about, just your palm for 3 ounces. So you do get an adequate amount from a decreased portion size. And what happens when you eat a little less meat, you're not eating as much cholesterol, you're not having as much saturated fat. There is no fiber, and it generally is higher in calories. Some patients do ask about soy being in a plant-based diet. Soy is safe to consume. The concern with soy is it contains what's called phytoestrogen. So that's plant-based estrogen. This differs from female estrogen. It is safe. They did a study in Asia on thousands of women who consumed soy naturally in their diet compared to women following a more Western diet. They found that the women in Asia actually had a decreased risk of developing breast cancer by consuming higher intakes of soy. So they did conclude that it is safe to consume whole foods in your diet. So with that said, we do discourage use of soy powders or pill forms. So I'd like to tie in the American Institute for Cancer Research. Number one, it is recommended to be at a healthy weight. So with that said, I do encourage following the rest of their recommendations to bring you to a healthy weight. Number two, be active. So whatever you can do activity-wise, it is recommended 30 minutes per day. Even walking counts. You can even walk 10 minutes a few times a day if you need to break it up. This can help regulate your hormone levels. It can speed foods through your colon to actually help reduce exposure to dietary carcinogens. And it actually can help prevent the buildup of body fat, which may be attributed to cancers, specifically endometrial and breast cancer. Number three, load up on fruits, veggies, whole grains, and beans. So the typical westernized diet, you're looking at the plate on the top. That's about a third of the plate is protein, a third of the plate is starch, and then a third of the plate is typically a starchy vegetable. You really want to aim for decreasing your protein, again, to something like 3 ounces or a quarter of your plate, making sure that a quarter of your plate is whole grains, and then half of your plate, really try to incorporate more vegetables. So as you can see on this plate, it's varied vegetables. You're getting a lot of different colors with the vegetables. Not recommended. Limiting consumption of highly processed fast foods. These foods are high in fat, starches, and sugar. So food companies want you to eat their food. They're going to really make foods addictive by adding a lot of sugar, adding a lot of salt, so you can't just have one. This is really important because these are the foods you have to pay attention to the label. With whole foods, you don't have to pay attention. So I do encourage, looking at the types of foods you're eating, the convenience foods, those are going to have the foods that have a higher intake of sugar and sodium that make you want to eat more than the recommended portion size. Not recommended. Decreasing your red meat and skipping processed meat. So with processed meat, we are talking about bacon, deli meats, also sausages are processed meat. This has been linked to colon cancer, and it is recommended to decrease red meat to less than 18 ounces per week. So if you do like red meat, and this does include pork, try to have maybe smaller portions with your meals, or maybe doing something like a meatless Monday to give your gut a break. Number 6, drink mostly water and unsweetened drinks. So not recommended are a lot of sugary beverages. So with added sugars, there is a recommendation for women 25 grams of added sugar or less, and men 36 grams of added sugar or less. So they did update the food label to include added sugars to differentiate from natural sugars. So it's right under sugars, it's added sugars. You want to make sure for the day that you're getting less than, again, 25 grams added sugar for women or 36 for men. And this can add up very quickly from sweetened beverages. So for example, one 12-ounce can of soda, you're getting close to 30 grams of added sugar just from one soda. Also something like, I get a lot of patients drinking the caramel swirl coffee. One small coffee that has the caramel swirl is 26 grams of sugar. So it adds up very quickly. Not recommended. For cancer prevention, it's best not to drink alcohol. So this is an update from last year. Last year, it was, I believe, one glass per day for women and two for men, but they have changed that. Now, I got a message saying that this ended the meeting. Can everyone still hear me okay? Okay. All right. So it's best not to drink alcohol. Number 8, best not to supplement. So with supplements, especially when you're undergoing treatment, this may interact with your chemotherapy. So really ask your dietitian or your doctor if it's safe to have supplements. Supplements in general are not regulated by the FDA, so you have to be careful about what you're consuming. If you're planning on taking a supplement and it is deemed safe to take, the best thing I do encourage to look out for is the brand on the side. It should say USP or Consumer Labs. These are third-party tested. So the actual ingredients in the supplements are the actual ingredients. Number 9, for mothers, breastfeed if you can. So this specifically is for preventing or reducing the chances of getting breast cancer. So if you're a mom or if you're planning on getting pregnant, we do encourage breastfeeding. And number 10, after getting a cancer diagnosis, follow this blueprint as best as you can by eating a diet, a whole plant-based diet, exercising, and really just decreasing or limiting the amount of added sugars and fats from processed foods. I wrote down some resources, so if you want to write these down or if you want to email me for the slides, I can certainly send them over. My favorite ones, Old Ways has great recipes. It's Mediterranean based. Also, the DASH diet is a very healthy diet. This is more vegan, but very, very delicious. Forks Over Knives has some plant-based recipes. And if you want to include more beans in your diet, pulses.org has all bean recipes. So, the blueprint for cancer prevention is a lot of not recommended, avoiding. At the end of the day, I like to just say it's all about balance. If you want to have pizza on the weekends, think about maybe having only 2 slices with a salad, maybe throw some veggies on it. Or if you really are going to have that piece of cake, maybe make it a slightly smaller piece of cake, maybe have a few extra pieces of fruit throughout the day. So it's definitely not an all or nothing kind of meal plan at all. Just we do encourage balance, making sure that a lot of the food that you're eating is going to give you the nutrients that you need. And my favorite quote by the author Michael Pollan: eat food, not too much, mostly plants. All right, thank you for joining me today.